Okay, so I wanted to jump on real quick. Basically, I've been editing these videos now. I'm trying to get them out in a rush because I'm going on holidays. I'll be on holidays when you see this. But one thing I keep doing in this video is saying Lisa Thybird. It is Lara Thybird is the first user of the Warhammer Titan. So I just wanted to clarify that before I get into the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And sorry if these are really confusing. Like I said, I'm on holidays right now and they're just a mess. Sorry about that. I'm JamesC634. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Warhammer Titan. So we're going to talk about some of the Titan shifters that have had the Warhammer. We're going to talk about their version of the Warhammer Titan, and then we're going to talk about some of the past Warhammer Titans. Now, I'm actually going to jump straight into this by talking about the Titan Wars. Now, if you don't know what the Titan Wars are, is that when Karl Fritz, he took the founding Titan and went to Paradise Island and actually set the island up with a bunch of Eldians, because he was sick and tired of the infighting from the Eldian royal families. And this caused a power vacuum, and the Marleyans, who are underneath the Eldians, seen that they were losing some of their power, and they started to fight against the royal families who had the Titans. Now, the Thybird family, who had the Warhammer Titan, basically, when these fights started happening, they instantly weren't on the side of Marley, and they started fighting against the other royal families who had the Titans. And eventually they claimed all of the other Titans, as we've seen obviously to present day with their warrior candidate and how many Titans they actually had possession of. So that's just a bit about the Warhammer Titan and how it stayed in the hands of the Thybird family, as opposed to all the rest of the Titans just kind of being, okay, you're a good fit, you get the Titan. Whereas they were allowed to keep the Titan, and they got to choose who in the family had it. And now, it was actually a massive secret who in the family has it, and it's never been told to anyone. Just a minute, like a really small group of the higher members of the family and higher government officials of Marley. Most of the Marleyan soldiers, even the other Marleyan people, don't know who has the Warhammer Titan. They just know it belongs to the Thybird family. So let's get straight into talking about the first user of the Warhammer Titan that we see, which is Lisa Thybird. Now, when we first see Lisa Thybird on screen, you don't know that she's anyone special. Most of us didn't even realise that she was a member of the family, because Willie Thybird was the head of the family, or the head of the clan, and the Thybird family had basically been controlling Marley the whole time from the shadows. Now, it was we see them at a dinner, and she's in the background. The first time we see her on screen, she puts a plate of food in front of her nephew, and then she goes back to where she was. A lot of us thought she was a maid. Most people didn't even realise that she was a member of the Thybird family. Now, we started to realise that she had some bit of importance when she was the only member of the family that Willie brought to the declaration of war, which obviously didn't go so great for her, unfortunately. But this is where she ran into Aaron Yeager, and this was actually her first time using the Warhammer Titan in a fight. And we know this because of comments that other people made, that it's not just her, but since the Titan Wars, it had not been used in any fights with other nations, with anyone else. And this doesn't make much sense because of how versatile and useful the Titan is, but I think the only reason they didn't use it was to try and keep the secret of who had it a secret, which does make sense. But yeah, now, this being her first time using the Titan, it was quite impressive considering she managed to make 7 different constructs / things. She made spikes, she made weapons, crossbows included, she made whips. This was very impressive for somebody who had only used it in battle. Well, this being the first time, not even once before. And, well, she ended up losing the Warhammer Titan to Aaron Yeager after he used Porco as a nutcracker, which is obviously a classic joke from Attack on Titan at this point, and I've mentioned it way too many times in all of these videos. But next up, the second user of the Warhammer Titan is Aaron Yeager, and he's the only other Titan shifter that we see. Now, going forward, there will be slight spoilers in terms of different Warhammers that we'll see in the end, but I will just mention, I'm going to talk about his Titan a bit. I'm going to give you a bit of Aaron Yeager's backstory, not the full thing, just a small bit of it, and then going forward, I'll give you the actual, here's a spoiler. So, talking about Eren Yeager, he was born on Paradise Island, and he was 10 years old when the warriors with the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan busted down the wall and filled up the area with Titans, and his mother was eaten by a Titan. Now, on the same day, his father used the Attack Titan to claim the power of the Founding Titan from the Reese family, and he ended up forcefully giving these powers to Eren, and he completely forgot and was unaware that he even had these powers. Time goes by, and then we see when he is 19 years of age, he goes to Marley on his own to kind of basically do the same thing that Marley did to Paradise Island, and in this he kills a bunch of innocent civilians. He kills Willie Sybert, a bunch of Marleyan generals, and then he ends up fighting the Warhammer Titan, and that his final victim is Lisa Thybert, and he ends up claiming the Warhammer Titan. Now, I'm going to actually talk about his Titans. There is a bit of spoilers coming up, just be warned. So, Eren Yeager's Titan, it looks the exact same as his normal Attack Titan. He did not use his powers to create, he didn't use especially new powers to create a skin coat around him, which he easily could have, but he didn't. The first time he uses the Titan powers is when he's escaping from his jail cell underground, and then he also uses it to block up the path behind him so that no one can follow him out. And he does use it again when he's fighting Reiner to create a few spikes, but other than that we don't get to see him use it too much, because, well, we've seen it in the anime what happens, but I don't know if you've seen that far in. He does end up losing, I've already give you a spoiler warning, he gets shot in the head by Gabi, and he ends up kind of doing that whole thing and eventually just gaining the Founding Titan. But that's pretty much all there is to say about Eren's Warhammer Titan. Now we might as well explain the Warhammer Titan, because I haven't actually explained it yet, unlike in most videos where I usually do that first. But basically it is a 15-meter Titan that is created fully out of hardening with, well, it's a regular Titan with a hardened shell around it, and it is created from sort of like an umbilical cord, and the user is in a crystallized state, as we've seen from Lisa Thybert. And there must be some sort of sentient or consciousness from this, because they're able to pilot the Warhammer Titan without actually seeing exactly where it's going or being inside it. And we also see from the previous ones that half their eyes are covered, and yet somehow their Warhammer Titans can still function, which means that there must be some sort of sentient consciousness in order to see through the hardening. Now let's get on to some of the previous Warhammer Titans. We will start off with, I think this one is probably one of the coolest ones that we see from the past. Once again, it's pretty much just a normal Warhammer Titan, but I think that the weapon it chose was a scythe, which was really, really cool. That's it. It's the only one that we see use a scythe. Now, there's a few other ones which I'm going to talk about, and one of them being that it kind of looks like RoboCop, if we're being honest. And this one's the first. It shows up. It's one of the first ones that we see in the final arcs. And when we see this in this chapter, we see loads of other Warhammer Titans. You'll see them in the pictures. But I just thought that its design was pretty cool. Just a normal Warhammer Titan, but instead of it having a full face, or the way this face differs, it's got 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, and it has an open bit just on around its mouth, just like RoboCop does. That's why I'm calling it RoboCop. And there's one more I'm actually going to discuss, and I think this one's really interesting. It is the Warhammer Titan in sort of like a dress or a cloak, which I think is really, really cool. And obviously we know that that the hardening material is quite flexible, because we've seen Lisa Thybert make a whip, and we also see that a bunch of the Warhammer Titans create bows and crossbows, which means that these weapons are obviously flexible and durable material, so creating a cloak out of it is really cool. It's the only one we see do this. And now I'm going to talk about kind of 2 more. In this picture I have a few Titans in it, but you'll see on this side in a minute, on this side, and in the corner down here, they kind of have hoods that almost look like chainmail, which I thought was really interesting. And that's pretty much it for the Warhammer Titan. The next Titan I'm going to be talking about is the Attack Titan.